fate of the universe on the line. I want Iguodala.
Kevin Durant. You know who I am.
Hurry, way downtown. Bang! Up for the layup. Oh, blocked by James. Is this the dagger?
Luka makes the impossible doable. Scores 60, triple-double, shoot Knicks in the skull. Thunder picks squabble. Aaron makes Landry bobble. While LeBron in year 20 still makes the rim wobble. As we talk NBA all week on the #Ballers NBA podcast, your favorite NBA podcast in an Indian accent. We are back at it again with episode last one of the year 2022. And once again, my name is Ashwin, reminding you to hit that like button and the subscribe button as your good deed of the new year. In the association this week, Luka Doncic scored the first 60-20 triple-double in NBA history. Detroit Pistons showed Orlando why you don't pick fights in Motor City, and LeBron puts up a birthday special at 38 with a 47-10-9 game. Speaking of things which don't change, I've got with me, as always, someone with some black t-shirts and some slightly darker black t-shirts. Someone who is never in India during New Year's Eve, and someone who has good ideas 4 years before I can even think about them. My co-host Vineet.
Excellent introduction.
You do have some black t-shirts and some darker black t-shirts.
Yeah, I mean, but I've been getting much more colorful these days. So
It's a joke from Archer. Have you seen Archer?
yes,
He talks about, I have some black turtlenecks and I have some turtlenecks in a slightly darker black.
God, that show. I think that show has gone down though. I think it was really good.
Yeah,
but I think it's kind of like
I think the success sort of fucked it over. I think once they went into that Archer going into coma and then having those imaginations, and they went into
imaginations,
space
all that space, and that they had that entire season where like they were like animals or something, right? Like
correct.
I was like, oh, come on. I think the same is happening with Rick and Morty also. Like they kind of like, Rick and Morty pushes the envelope. They push the envelope a little bit too much. Last 2 seasons, like, okay, I can't really get there.
This Archer had a lot of, I don't know if they had a lot of writers in like mixing with Arrested Development, but a lot of those jokes, like they had a lot of characters who were on Arrested Development, like Jessica Walters, Mallory Archer in this, and she was Lucille Bluth in that other one. There were a lot of actors crisscrossing this way, the voice actors. So they used to get a lot of Arrested Development feelings in there. Some dialogues are also sort of not lifted, but inspired.
I've actually never watched Arrested Development like as an entire series. Like I've watched clips.
First 3 seasons, that's it. That's all you need to watch. That's the first 3 seasons. Just watch.
After that, it's a down.
After that,
downward.
it takes that jump. What do they call jumping the shark? They jump, and then after that, it's all sort of like God save us.
Nothing is as good as Bojack.
Yeah, Bojack. I think it's incredible with respect to what you're talking about. How that consistency maintained throughout.
Bojack is like consistently good. Like every season was just banging, like really good stuff.
I used to love how, even though it was animated, the animals followed like human behavior for a while, and then suddenly they would just like unfurl their actual true animal behavior. Like a hippopotamus would be like sitting in a table and eating like this, but when it's time to eat the food, he's like, and eat the food. And it all happened in the background, so
I think that's the thing about Bojack that I really liked, is that it was set in an imaginary world, but it's relatable as well as like it doesn't push the envelope too much, where it's like completely like you can't imagine that this is like like that this whole like episode about the Sea World, where I think they go to a show in the sea or something like that. And I thought that was so like really nicely done. Like, like it was such a great episode because it had a lot of human feelings, but you're in the sea. There's like fish. It's just like brilliant.
And they ended it also as probably the right time. Like it's very difficult to end at the right time. Like Seinfeld used to talk about it. That the reason they stopped at the 9th season after 180 episodes because they thought they could not get any better. I think in retrospect, in retrospect, maybe 8th season only they could have ended it.
Yeah,
Like,
9th season was a drag, complete
9th
drag.
season was, people said at that point in time that, no, why don't you have more seasons? What is stopping you? So, it's one of those things.
When will we ever reach there?
I was thinking you'll ask it. You need to get some appreciation first. Then we can't take a bow when everybody's just staring at you. You have to have some clap and then be like, okay, that's it. That's been my time. I'm off.
It's like George in Seinfeld, like, I'm out.
All right. That's it for me.
I'm out.
Okay, Vineet, let's come back to this. You are in Paris though, so this is still an Europe-India podcast.
Still.
Speaking of Europe, luckily. Last 3 episodes are basically just us talking about 10 teams, talking about the teams which probably would do good, talking about teams which would not do good. Most of our predictions, I think my statistical mind that most of it has been correct. Most of it we've sort of identified the real winners and the real losers. Like the true positives and the true negatives are true. But now the false positives and the false negatives have to be accounted for. Which team did you think would do much better than what they have done by this sort of 25-30th percentile?
Which team did you think would be doing amazingly well but is doing really bad? I know the name.
I mean, I thought Atlanta Hawks would not. For me, Atlanta Hawks, one of the biggest disappointments.
No, there's another team in the Eastern Conference where you were like so bullish. Like, oh my God, they're better than Miami Heat. You argued with me. I was like, how? It's the Washington Wizards.
Washington Wizards, yes. But Miami is also doing just as bad. It's not like Washington Wizards.
No, Miami is now at 4th seed or 5th seed. That's how Miami is. I told, even if you go back to our said, like Miami just slowly builds up. They kind of start slow and then they slowly build up their season.
Miami Heat is 7th. It's 18-18. And the Wizards are, oh my God, 16-21. Wizards, even at that point of time, I think you were not convinced by my conviction in the Wizards.
Yeah, I know.
Are you sure what you're talking? What are you talking about? Washington Wizards, 16-21 is terrible. Absolutely terrible. Absolutely terrible. I have no idea why they are this bad. Like the team on the whole,
because they're a bad team.
They're not a bad team, man. Like that's a very decent team. It's just.
Well, I think the only team that I can look at which really we thought would do well and didn't do well is the Phoenix Suns. But their decline is very recent. So I don't know if you have to there was the Kim Kardashian cheating on Chris Paul saga. The Kardashian curse, hits another NBA team.
Oh.
Then obviously the entire organization is being sold. Devin Booker is injured. So I think correct. All those 3 things.
No, Devin Booker injured. No, you're right. But I think the Suns. I don't think we should discount the fact that Devin Booker is injured and Chris Paul again. Obviously, is a year older and they don't really have Jay Crowder. They have a lot of personal issues. I mean, mainly Devin Booker not being there.
Yeah, I think Devin Booker being injured is like the biggest reason why they have lost recently. I mean, even when Devin Booker was playing or Chris Paul was injured or Chris Paul was cheating with Kim Kardashian, all of those things, still they were winning. They were still one or two at that point. And then
since you brought up my Washington Wizards debacle, let me just ask you. You remember that team in the Western Conference where you said that this team is definitely much worse than the Los Angeles Lakers, and I said no, this team is going to have
Sacramento
a better
Kings.
Yes.
Okay.
So finally on record we have that. I was right. What do you mean?
No, I said that if the 3 of them are healthy for 60 games. That was my prediction.
You said, I told you, I read you the starting lineup of the Sacramento Kings and you said this team is not going to do anything. This team is not that good. This team is actually pretty bad. Blah, blah, blah. This is this. They are not going to have a better record than the Lakers. Now, Lakers.
Yes. But I said, we were discussing within the division, right?
Yes.
So in that division, I said, if LeBron, AD and Russell are healthy for 60 games, they will have a better record
LeBron
than
and
Sacramento
Russell
Kings.
have been Westbrook have been healthy for a long while. Anthony Davis, of course, that's like saying that, oh, if I had $1 million, I would have $1 million. Like that's sort of
but when Anthony Davis was proper, they were winning a lot of games. Their record was like 7-3 when Anthony Davis was beasting. Wait, let me see
in that short little window.
Short
window.
To get it.
What about the Trailblazers, Vineet? We didn't even discuss the Trailblazers because you said they are in the Wemby tank.
They are in the Wemby tank. They have been going down ever since.
But I can't
had a
believe
good
that
start.
You called the Utah Jazz a Wemby tank team, and they have now come down from the number 1 position to the number 10.
Number 10. No, I think eventually, like, that's how I've realized the NBA works. Is like the good teams will eventually move up the froth, and the bad teams, unless there is like a star in the making, like the Golden State Warriors had, Steph Curry in the making that nobody knew, and then he just came out, and then Golden State started like staying up. I mean, with Utah Jazz, you don't really see that. There's no like star in the making other than Lauri Markkanen, who explodes and becomes something, we were expecting the Timberwolves to be much better.
We were expecting the Nets to be much worse, but the Nets are currently on a 10-game win streak. I mean, they've beaten only like sort of mediocre teams, but still, 10 games is 10 games.
Yeah, 10-game winning streak. Same record as the Milwaukee Bucks. Milwaukee Bucks have been playing not so good.
Correct. But I think a lot of those games they've not had Middleton, like the Christmas game against Celtics.
Yeah, but still, the 4-6 record, I think, is not very good for what we thought were the best team in the NBA.
Yeah,
the Clippers are 7. The Clippers are 7-3.
Even the Celtics are 5-5 in the last 10.
Yeah, but I'm just saying,
No,
Clippers are 7-3. Huh?
That is Clippers are one of those good teams who we expected them to be sort of in the 6 to 8, 6 to 10 sort of a seeding, but they are at what, number 4 seed, right?
4 right now.
Number 4 seed, just 1.5 games behind the Grizzlies.
And just 0.5. I mean, the Mavericks, man, look at that. They had a really bad start, and now they only one game away from being the 4th seed.
Yeah, correct.
One win game again. Yeah.
One game. Yeah, one win away.
So this whole right, like 4 to 9. 4 to, I would say, like 4 to 7. Those 5 teams are very close to each other, I would say. Golden State is coming up. That's also not bad. They won 5 out of 5. Not bad at all.
They won 5 out of 5. They won 5, lost 5.
5-5, sorry.
The Pelicans have a 5-game win streak, and they sort of dipped after getting that number 1 seed. I think they were like, oh, let's celebrate, and then boom, they went down. Now again, it's a 5-game streak for them. Yeah. They're 6-4 in the last.
No, also what happens is when you suddenly become the best team, you're now on everybody's radar. So everyone comes with their best game, right? Like, you're not going to get your best game to play OKC, but you're going to get now, Pelicans are number 1.
You could have said Lakers. You had to say go to OKC. You could have said Rockets. You could have said Spurs.
I don't know. OKC was right here.
OKC has got a much better record than any of these.
And one of the reasons why I was thinking about OKC is because I saw this post by Poku. And there was a meme about Poku's glow up. Now that he has like a hot girlfriend, considering how he was before, yeah. And
he's not changed.
He's not changed, obviously. He's just got money now, When you have money, you get the girls.
Yeah, Magic is another team that you had huge hope for with your Bol and your Pantero and...
No, I didn't say huge hope for... I said that they are like the most up and coming team. They have good players.
Yeah, they are down and going team. They're not up and coming. They're down and going. Their
last 10 record is 6-4. Not bad. They lost too many games, to start off. It's a young team. Everyone's new. Banchero's new. I think Banchero was also injured for a small period of time. So it was like you don't expect them to win.
Bulls though, I think nobody. I don't think anybody expected. I think you didn't have much hope for the Bulls.
I don't know. for the Bulls.
I think my Bulls prediction is much worse than my Washington Wizards prediction. Because Bulls, I was sure that they would win like 40 games in the season.
So basically, none of your predictions were right.
My Sacramento Kings prediction was right. Pacers,
Okay, fine.
I think our
Fine.
Pacers prediction was wrong.
Wrong. Our Pacers prediction was very wrong. True.
Very wrong. Terrible. Andrew Nemhard and the boys. Tyrese Halliburton.
Our
And
New
I
York
said,
Knicks.
you diss Tyrese Halliburton also. Anytime somebody disses Halliburton, you should call them out when the next time they play.
I did not diss him.
You said if Tyrese Halliburton is your best player, then you have no hope at all.
That could have been me.
I think more than anything else, I think Timberwolves have probably been the worst, what is that called? Variance team.
Yeah.
The entire thing. We sat and discussed them for like some 15 minutes.
And so many, like after that big trade, like...
everybody was like, oh my god, they're going to change basketball. Two big men. One of them can shoot, one of them can defend. Both of them can't win though.
That was only you.
That was only me.
That was only...
That's how they played though.
Only you were so fascinated by these two big men. I was like, why are you so fascinated about this?
I was like, see, you can't have Rudy Gobert just standing there unless you make him active. Like, if you've seen him playing with the French team, right? The French team always, after that pick and roll, they give him the ball. Even though he has no post moves, he has nothing. Here, they don't give the ball. They're like, no, screw you. This is exactly, I think, the problem with that Washington Wizards team also. Like, they completely ice out Kristaps Porzingis. They don't give him the ball at the right time. They are not asking him to do anything else. Bradley Beal comes like to the scores point. He's like, why am I not an all-star pitch? Like, come on, man. So I think a lot of issues are there that wise, but like a team like Washington Wizards should not be 16 and 24. That was my point then, and that is still my point. And I'm really upset that they did not listen to the pod and get some inspiration. Timberwolves, though, it was always sort of a like hit and miss because Anthony Edwards has his own things to do. And
I don't understand Anthony Edwards not taking a leap. It's kind of sad because he is a very good player. What do you think about Knicks? You think the Knicks? I think the Knicks are where they're supposed to be 8, 9.
Yeah, Knicks are exactly where they're supposed to be. They have told everyone that we will be the most baseline team this entire year. We'll win.
It's like you define your success if you're better than the Knicks or the lower worse than Knicks.
Exactly. It's like we will be the standard for all of you.
Standard for.
Okay, Vineet, we have done with our study of the NBA teams right now, whatever they've done. We were sorry to the Indiana Pacers. We misjudged you.
Indiana Pacers was definitely a miss from both of us.
From both of us, absolutely. And Sacramento Kings, you are welcome.
Just wait. Don't jump the gun. So.
I mean, gun has been jumped.
The gun has been jumped.
The gun has been. Okay, all right. We will now talk about some Indian basketball because this Christmas weekend, I had gone to the third Feasto All-India Basketball tournament happening in Calicut, home of basketball, Manajara Square. Right.
Home of basketball.
Home of basketball for that week.
Oh, home of basketball that week.
This home keeps changing. It just goes everywhere. It's a shifting.
I thought I've never heard of this place and suddenly it's the home of basketball.
We had the men's tournament, we have the women's tournament. We had South Central Railway from Secunderabad, we had Eastern Railway, Kolkata, we had KSCB, our home team from Trivandrum. We had Punjab Police team coming in from Jalandhar. So we had four teams. They played each other one time each, 3 games, and the top two people went to the finals.
Okay.
Eastern Railways, I'll tell you, Eastern Railways had Poonam Chaturvedi. I don't know if you know Poonam Chaturvedi or if you saw her.
8-feet-year-old girl.
7 foot lady. I gave her the nickname of the cheat code because it was almost like a non-flying version of the Lob City Clippers. All they did was, like, when in doubt, they just put the ball up in the air. Nobody else could catch it. She caught the ball and boom, soft touch basket. Then she would come back and block shots in the paint. Then she would go back there. They'll give her the ball, pass, boom, 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 boom. So just that was all that she was doing there. And they had a lot of other good players, also Vaishnavi Yadav, I think Bihar, Madhu Kumari, their angry point guard. Basically, in India, the Railways is like the strongest basketball team.
I know. Women's. I used to play for them.
Which Railways did you play for?
Western.
No. This is the South Central Railways. Secunderabad team, they've got this a girl called Pushpa, there's number 7 Priyanka, then there's their captain who's a Mallu girl, Ashwati, number 4. And then they had this 2 amazing shooters, like small, like I think 4'8", 4'9", maybe 5 foot, that's it. Gulab Shah Ali and this Kiran Prajapati, all they do is just shoot threes, kill it. Shooting threes was amazing. So, and they have this very easy shooting action also.
I mean, I don't know if this is like appropriate to say, but like whenever I've watched Indian women like play basketball, it doesn't look very appealing, but like the shooters, they're like so good. Even though like it doesn't look, because they're kind of heaving, you know. It's a heave.
Yeah.
And it feels like it shouldn't go, but they're very accurate. So it's like
no, they practice a lot. I mean, they obviously practice a lot because they won the nationals in Udaipur, which was held like a month ago, which I could not go for. And then this tournament, they absolutely killed. They didn't lose a single game. They beat the other Railways team in the finals by 103 to 69 or something like that. Like they were the only team to breach that 100-point mark in the.
Is this the team with the tall girl?
No, this is the other team. This is the team in the black.
Which is the team with the tall girl?
The yellow team, Eastern Railway.
Oh, that's also Railway. Okay.
Yeah. So both the railway teams met each other. Everyone else just kept losing. That's it. Nobody else could even come close to them. So there in that team, there is this girl called Pushpa who is just this all-round good player. She had the enviable job of guarding number 15 Poonam, that tall girl. And then she had to like jump and do this. I was like, okay, probably this is how those short people in the NBA might have defended Wilt when he first came on. Like,
Wilt was not that tall, man.
Wilt was much taller.
Wilt was like 7'1".
7 foot, 1, 2, whatever. But like long arms, whatever. Like you get the ball, you can't really do anything, right? But
yeah,
this girl is like maybe 6 feet, 5'11", 5'10", that kind of height. She is trying to just disrupt. That's all they're doing. Disrupt number 15 getting the ball. And she played amazingly well, rebounded, pushed the ball in, blah, blah, pass, everything. A very delightful game to watch. But now we're going to talk about our what we had to talk about. And then you give me your opinion about, because I'm sure that it's not like a new thing or anything. And we have at some point in the pod discussed about how in Punjab, Haryana,
it's ridiculous.
They tamper with their ages, like some
ages,
like huge ass people come and say that I'm 13 years old, and you're like, what? On which planet are you 13 years old? Like, you know that Indian Navy is one of my most favorite teams.
Correct.
Like, ever since I started following Indian basketball, which is like 5 months ago, Indian Navy for me has been the best team. They have done everything. Bandwagoner, I mean, okay, whatever, sure. I mean, I don't see the point of supporting like bad teams. Indian team.
No, you could support a team that you like playing, but may not have like the best players and not winning. But anyway,
I don't think individually they have best players, but as a team they are perfect. Like everything that they do is very team oriented. They are not worried about, all of them come and play defense. All of them come and do rebounding. All of them pass the ball to the open man. That's why I love them, because they keep finding that open man. The open man has the responsibility of being open. The shooters have the responsibility of open. They all can shoot, but some of them are really like some of India's best shooters. And their coach is always shouting at them, telling them that no, we are going to be accountable from the tip off to the end. That is what we were.
What's the guy's name? The shooter, the short guy, the captain.
He's not the captain, but he's that legendary shooter.
Oh, he's not the captain. I thought he was the captain.
No, the captain I think is AK Tudu. Okay. He's a Rajasthan guy. One of the fastest guys dribbling the basketball that I've seen. Like the way he just goes.
Faster than me.
Possibly, I don't know. Faster than peak Vineet runs. So this happened, right? So now there are two groups. We just talk about one group where all the issues are there. So KSCB was one team. We had Indian Navy and we had Indian Bank. Now Indian Bank is one of the second or sort of one of the other best teams in the nation. They've got a lot of Indian national players like Bala, their number 14, who's Tamil Nadu captain. Indian player. I think he plays Indian national also. Arvind is there. Muin Beg, India's best international shooter. So that team is like full defense, and then when you get open, you shoot, that kind of thing. And Indian Navy is like full defense and full offense. It's probably like the best matchup that can happen, right? So out of the blue, the first game, the KSCB team beats Indian Bank by 12 points or something like that, right? Now Indian Bank, when they're playing Indian Navy, it's a must win for them because they lose, but they're out. Because each team plays only 2 games and then the top 2 go.
Indian Bank has to play Indian Navy.
Now Indian Bank plays Indian Navy and beats them by 11 points or 12 points or something like that.
Not bad. Okay.
Indian Bank is a good team. It's just that I have not seen many Indian Bank games. I have seen Indian Navy at almost all the tournaments that I've covered. And I've followed them also. You're also Indian Navy also.
You have followed you've done only 2 tournaments.
Yes,
or 1
now
tournament.
is the third. But I've gone and checked out, like they play other places also. Because I know all these people now. Anyway, it's a serious topic. So Indian Bank beats Indian Navy, and now
fair and square.
Fair and square, that is sort of up in the air, but they beat them.
Tell me.
Because another thing that happens at any tournament is that there's a lot of these referees. These referees are a lot in each association's pockets. Each association has some referees who are in their pocket and who will make sure that teams from that team will get favored easily, blah, blah, blah. There's that sort of a nexus is there. Understanding, they call it. So, but still, Indian Bank beat Indian Navy. Like, they would have beaten them by maybe 4 points, ended up beating them by 11 points. That's the only thing the referee probably influenced. So now, we come into the final group game in that group, which is KSCB versus Indian Navy. Now, technically, all 3 teams can qualify. As in, if KSCB beats Indian Navy is out. So, Indian Navy has to win. Now, Indian Navy has to win, but Indian Navy sort of controls who will qualify with them. And that if Indian Navy beats KSCB by a certain amount of points, then KSCB will qualify. But if they beat them by a different amount of points, then Indian Bank will qualify. Okay. Now KSCB is no match for Indian Navy. Indian Navy is fast. Indian Navy shoots like a boss. Indian Navy is defensively minded. Like zone defense. Anybody who gets the ball gets hounded by 2 people. And the difference is very clear. It's not like this and this. It's like this and this. And it's very evident also. Like, you know it because I've seen both the teams play, but you see it on this game also. So now in the first half, Indian Navy takes.
But how did the KSCB defeat Indian Oil then? Or Indian Bank?
That was because Indian Bank doesn't have like amazing shooters. But more importantly, that day, the Kerala bigs, right? They have Kerala number 6, Sharath Ayers, and number 22. And they had one more guy. All of them shut down that paint. They could not drive and do anything. KSCB probably played the best game that I've ever seen them play. Okay. They took every single defensive rebound that was there. They did not let anything go to Indian Bank. Everything they made sure that the possession ends right there. They miss a shot, possession ends right there. Right. Absolutely no nonsense business. Nothing proper old school 90s basketball kind of play. Get the rebounds, make it at the other end. They played very well to win that game. So now Indian Navy is absolutely destroying KCB in this game. 19-point lead, somewhere around that at halftime. That is the lead that is there. Apparently, what happens is then Indian Navy has a internal discussion, decides that we would rather face anybody but Indian Bank in the finals of the tournament because they're going to be. Correct. That's how it'll work out. Like Indian Navy will play somebody, get to the final. Indian Bank will play somebody, get to the finals, and then they'll meet in the finals. So apparently there was a discussion amongst them that we will make sure that KSCB qualifies from here because we do not want to find Indian Bank in the finals when we go.
Correct. Makes sense.
So what they do is in the third quarter, they allow KSCB to come back from the 19-point deficit. They put their bench in. They sort of like just pass the ball around like this, just playing. You can see it very clearly. If you're there, you can see it very clearly. You may not know why they're doing this unless you're following what has happened before and all that. If you just look at it as one match, you might be like, okay, maybe they're just giving these other players a chance because it's very clear that they will win. But it was done with an intent to have Indian Bank out of the tournament and KSCB into the finals. The point differential for Indian Bank and the point differential for KSCB became the same. And when the point differential is the same, you look at the head-to-head record. And the head-to-head record said Indian Bank lost to KSCB, so KSCB qualifies. So this is what happened there. And now everybody in that, like the association, all the organizers, they clearly saw what happened. So they were little bit like, why would Indian Navy go and do this?
Why? Because they want to win.
Okay, so that's what my question was. That I mean, my statement was that this is what happened there. They like Deepak and we were shocked at the disclosures that had happened. So I think after that game got over, and then the organizers called Indian Bank and told them that you have not qualified because of this thing, blah 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 blah. Like there was this sort of very weird feeling that what is the point of like playing these kind of tricks to win a basketball game? I mean, it's not like you are like JP Nagar Navy. You are Indian Navy. You are saying that you represent the nation. Like it's not like you're a small chai kada on the side of the road and you've organized some 5 people and all that. You're supposed to be Indian Navy. You're supposed to be representing.
Is this the match fixing that you're talking about, or is
this is the match fixing I'm talking about? No, this is
This is not match fixing. This is not match fixing at all. No, this is not match fixing. This is just like
you don't
normal.
think so? So my feeling was that Indian Navy decided to win the tournament by saying that no, we don't want to compete with the best team, with the second best team, and we don't have any faith that we can beat them in the finals because Indian Navy is really good.
I don't think they really thought that they have no faith of beating them. They said, why not make it easier for us to get them?
Exactly. So I think as a basketball player, okay, fine. My opinion was that it's a competition thing, right? You're supposed to beat the best, be the best by beating the best. Instead, you said no, suck it. I will just beat the remaining people. I'm sure that even if all of them are playing 10 on 5 against Navy would have still won. But
did Navy win in the end?
Yeah, obviously they won in the end. The Navy is like really good team. It's not like they're a bad team. And my additional problem was that if a bad team does this, I'm still like, okay, yeah, you have no hope of winning anywhere else. So, suck it. You have to use whatever is there at your disposal. Indian Navy is one of the best teams in the nation.
If the team itself decides this is who we want to play, I don't think that's like match fixing. Match fixing is if like other people are fixing the match.
I mean, they did. They won, but they fixed it such that Indian Bank doesn't get through, right?
No, but for example, right? No, they didn't force the KSEB to lose to Indian Navy in the finals.
No, but they could have beaten them like by 25.
But that's not true because KSEB did defeat Indian Bank.
No, but that is.
So what if KSEB played at that level? Then maybe they could have won with. So it's like it's calculated risk.
It's not calculated once you're seeing it happen. No, when you're playing them, you know that they're not that good. Like
okay, but then if Indian Bank is so good and so then how did like KSEB defeat them?
Accidents happen, but they did defeat Indian Navy also, right? See,
yeah, that's true.
In a close game, a close game is different. But here it was a blowout game. After second quarter, it was an absolute blowout. It was 19-point game, and I can understand you put in your bench players to make sure that nothing happens. But the idea was to win by the exact number of points so that Indian Navy goes through and Indian Bank does not go through. That's what I'm saying.
But why would it be exact number of points? Even if they give them more than that, it should be fine.
It'll be less than that because Indian Navy also lost by 12 points. So they have to beat them at least by 12 points so that they don't get knocked out in the middle of this thing. Right? Like it's a point differential thing only. I think I'm absolutely not saying that this is the first instance of this happening in India. In India, absolutely not. I'm sure in the world also these kind of
even in the NBA, like teams they kind of lose games to get in the right seeding so that they don't have to meet the best team. Yeah.
I think Spurs also have done that on some occasions.
Spurs have done that, yeah. Spurs have done that. A lot of teams. LA has done it. Lakers have done it. I feel like if you are in that position to control something, then why not control it? Like it's not like KSEB could
No,
control anything, because,
controlling it for your own benefit is one thing. Controlling it for the detriment of someone else. More importantly, this is basketball in India. It's not a very high profile. This like.
But for them it is, right?
Sponsors are coming.
For the players,
But
it is.
Is it? I think in India it should be more important for the reason the game is not growing is because we don't give any attention to the fans. We're not thinking about the fans, the organizers who put this event together. We're just like, humko ek trophy milega. Which, see, if anybody else had done it, that's what I say. No, if anybody had done it, I would be like, okay, try to understand. But Indian Navy should not do this. That was my major problem. Indian Navy should
Indian
not
Bank could have done it, huh? So you're okay with like financial forgery, but not forgery by the Navy.
Indian Bank does not stand for anything. Okay, it's not a Bank of India. Okay, they just named themselves Indian Bank. It's not a bank for Indians at all. Indian Navy is
really?
India's Navy. Yeah, I mean, it's just a name. State Bank of India is different. But Indian Bank, like, what does that mean? Why is it called Indian Bank? I don't know.
I don't know. Isn't it a government bank?
Is it? Okay, that actually makes sense.
I've never heard of Indian Bank. This is the first time I'm hearing.
Is that bank which has like a blue and orange sort of like a logo sort of thing?
Isn't that State Bank of India?
State Bank is white and blue, no?
Okay, I don't know, bro.
Yeah, one of those banks, man. Like, I'm sure it's a PSU, you're right. It makes sense. But Indian Navy is Indian Navy. Indian Navy should not be doing this kind of.
I mean, yeah. I mean, if you're talking about those kind of high morals and ethics, then yeah. But I don't think you should.
But isn't that the difference between people like us and them? Like, that they have high morals? Or is it that nobody has morals and we should not be questioning anybody's morals? They can do whatever the hell they want.
Essentially, no one has morals, bro.
Oh, okay. That's fair. That's fair.
The only problem is when you're caught. That's when like.
But they were not caught. Like, nobody knows about this, right? Like, nobody knew anything.
Everybody knows about it. It's a public sector bank established in 1907.
No, I meant okay, I'm talking about the cheating which happened, the match fixing which happened.
It's not match fixing, dude. That's not.
You don't think it's match fixing?
No, it's not match fixing.
That is untrue.
It could be match. It could be called competitive manipulation, but not match fixing.
It is match fixing because you decided the score of the match almost before the match was over.
Like,
I think they brought the Navy's name down. But the problem is nobody's made it sound that way. And maybe I'm just a fool for saying it this way, but I think they just absolutely defeated the name of the Indian Navy, which is one of the three armed forces of India. And for what? Not for winning a war, not for helping people. They did it to win a fucking basketball tournament, which is terrible thing, in my opinion.
Okay. I mean, I think it's easier to put morals on others than yourself. So
that is true. I do think that it's easier to pass judgment, but we expect Indian Navy, we expect the Indian Army.
Bring your expectations down, my friend. That's the whole point of life.
No,
if you have not learned from 34 years of living,
no,
lower your expectations.
See, there was a reason. After that thing, Indian Navy is no longer my favorite team in the nation.
Oh.
I have not told this to them officially, but through this podcast, let me just tell you, Indian Navy काफी दुख हुआ ये सुन के. The truth is, after that happened, right, that night, Deepak left. He said, like, this really hurt me a lot. The people who are doing this tournament do it with a lot of shiddat, and they do it with a lot of love for the tournament. The only tournament organized for basketball in Calicut is by Feasto. So they did it with so much love. They wanted the crowd to see the best basketball possible. The best basketball possible is Indian Navy versus Indian Bank. The best basketball that was possible there. And that did happen. So they were also stuck in a place that they couldn't do anything because the referees sort of run the tournament once the ball has started rolling, right? And the referees were like, I guess officially there is no rule against fixing the score. So we can't do anything. We just have to go by whatever the score was. That is the game. We saw what happened, but we can't really do anything about it. The organizers are also like really sad. And after that, I didn't want to do the game because I knew that Navy would win. I knew that they would destroy both the teams in the semi-final. They'll destroy. In the finals, they'll destroy. But I didn't want to sit there and do that championship के बाद कैसा लगा आपको कैसे खेल रहे थे आप लोग क्या plan था आपका. I didn't want to do that with those people. And very sad because all those kids are really sweet. But if you can't, I don't know.
So Indian Navy won in the end.
Yeah. They destroyed. That final score is not even indicative of what the real life situation was. No, Indian
Bank
Navy
of
is an amazing team. I never said that they're not a good team. They are like one of the best teams because they force people to play at their speed, which is a lot. And they constantly have these
So
picks
it's like the Warrior. It's like the Kevin Durant
Absolutely.
Warriors playing.
Kevin Durant
like,
Warriors, yeah, they don't have any mid-range special, but they are like the
I mean, in
2015
terms of
Warriors, I guess.
domination.
2015 Warriors, you can easily say that. 2015 Warriors.
Okay.
All they do is just play defense, run, shoot threes. Play defense, run, find the
Yeah, then I think it would make sense a little bit, which is like, okay, listen, we're the big dogs here. Like, okay, Indian Bank, you want to come play? Let's go.
Let's go. Let's go.
Yeah.
It would have been such a great game. It would have been absolutely amazing. And I think Indian Navy could have beaten them also. That's what I feel.
Agreed. From a sportsmanship perspective, a horrible thing by Indian Navy. That's for sure. But in terms of like wanting to win,
I have to say but.
No, because I feel like it's
like it's not. It's that's what I'm saying. Because they are sports people, right? They are the people who should show sportsmanship, this sportsmanship spirit. Not people like us who have got IT jobs and we're like, oh, you need to show sportsmanship. No, they need to make that call, right? And they're not like young. They are young, but they're not like 15, 16-year-old who don't have a voice of their own. They are representing Indian Navy. That's all my point was. That's all.
Fair enough. That's
because this is not the first time. I'm sure Indian Bank has also done it at some point of time just to make sure that they have an easy road to the finals. But this is what I've seen. That's why I have to. If I see Indian Bank do something like this, I'll be like, oh, Indian Bank, oh, what a piece of shit, pussy. Okay. But that didn't happen, right?
No, that's fair. I think that's fair. I think that given how good the team is, for them to do that, yeah, if I was Indian Navy, I would be like, yeah, let's play Indian Bank and see what happens.
It's not like let's kill them in the finals.
Because you're not meeting them in the semifinals anyways. So there's no 100% chance you're going to meet Indian Bank.
Okay.
And yeah, the point about fans and everything is also true. It's a nuanced situation. I don't think.
No, the thing is like Indian like basketball. If you see, you are lucky enough to not have seen any Indian basketball tournaments apart from the ones where you might have been playing 150 years ago or something like that, right?
No, I watched Indian tournaments. Yeah.
What a lie! That was the last Indian tournament you saw.
I watched your video only, dude.
Good answer. Correct answer. And one more player came and told me that they like my commentary. So again, shout out to Harish, number 6, Bank of Baroda. He is a very good inside player. Bank of Baroda is a Bangalore team.
So you just give shout out to people who come and praise you. And what about the people that don't praise you? What are the people who think that your commentary is shit? I've seen some comments on the side.
Some comments. Not too many comments. Some comments.
No, a lot of comments.
Not a lot of
comments. No, lots. I was like, oh, poor Ashwin. Who is this doing commentary?
No.
Lots.
I think some of them were inquisitive. I said, who is this person doing commentary? Who is this person doing commentary?
I don't remember which one it was. I think like.
I remember in this I think semi-finals or something. Only one person asked this literally what you asked, like who is this person doing commentary? But I read it as who is this person doing commentary? So I didn't like feel too bad.
No, I didn't see any of the ones this ones, but I remember like the one where you went to. I don't know where you went, but you went somewhere.
Kochi.
Coimbatore, Kochi.
They are two different places.
Same in Kerala. No, the one which Indian Navy won.
Coimbatore one.
Yeah, so I think I was watching some one of the things, and I even commented. I think Ashwin like fire emojis, but then everybody was fucking like scolding you. It's like, who is this fellow doing?
Everybody.
Not everybody is in like. Obviously, there are people who are supporting the
more
teams.
More than 4-5 people.
There was nobody like who was like, wow, what's such great commentary.
I mean, it's not great commentary, but it's.
No, but you were doing a good. No, you were doing a good job. I think maybe. I mean, I really didn't. I mean, I couldn't. I don't know what feedback to give you, but I didn't think that you were doing such a bad job.
Yeah. I mean, I think I was doing a job, and I knew all the players' names, and I was saying the players' names, so which I thought was like probably the right thing to do. Instead of just being like jersey number this did this, jersey number that did that. I learned all the players' names. I wrote it down, wrote it down, and then like the more you say it, then more you're like, okay, number 9 on Bank of Baroda is Nagaraj, number 7 is Anil Kumar Gowda. Like you know that just by how many times you've seen them.
And they don't have their names on their back, huh?
Not all of them. Some of them have. Yeah, makes
Good
them
job,
also
man.
feel nice because they send it to their families and all. And they are the only people, like I've always said, the only people who watch basketball in India are either the players themselves or the players' families. That's it.
Okay, man. What is
Sure.
anything?
Okay, all
Anything?
right.
Any other like? Do you want to like recap 2022 for Ballers Bay?
2022, for Ballers Bay, it's been sort of a uneven journey. We did try new things in Reels, Parabaje and all that, but we can still be a little more consistent. Hopefully, that's what changes in the next year. I don't know. My inconsistency has come out a lot in this because like 6 months I was unemployed in this. Half the year I was unemployed. Half the year I was terribly employed, like overemployed. So that I think coincides with the dip in productivity. But we've had good things. We've had like what 150% jump in downloads. I wanted to show that thing on the page. Maybe I'll do that still. And yeah, we are still a little bit short of 1,000. I think 2023 we'll hit that 1,000 followers.
Yeah, I think, yeah, you're right. I mean, this time BIB was not as consistent as we usually were. Like, we were very consistent. Actually, not this year. I would say this season we were not very consistent. Last season we were very consistent with our podcast and, you know, making sure that the podcast was you know, put on there on time and everything. I think for me, the best part about this season was the lives. I think we brought a lot of engagement with the lives. A lot of people were waiting for the lives. I haven't done the live for a month now because I've been traveling and it's too late in the night to actually do it when I was in the US. So I'll probably start next week now that I'm in the same better time zone. So I think that the live really brought a lot of engagement. We also got Ranveer Singh on our live, which was pretty good for us.
Yeah, absolutely. In the comment form, but still counts for something.
Still counts a lot. I think the memes have been doing well. Our engagement per post is very high. If like, you know, if you compare like other pages, like we get so much engagement on our views, on our memes and other content we push out. I did think that we did a good job with the 12 baje thing, but yeah, I think hopefully for the next year our content is good. We just don't do a very good job of like being very consistent or doing things that are locally, which I think would help us grow. I still feel like, you know, or maybe I don't understand why. Cool, that's it, man. I think that, you know, 2023 is just going to be another year. We're going to do some good stuff. We're going to experiment things. And, you know, the thing with these kind of stuff is you just don't know what's going to blow up. And like one day, you know, we'll be at 1,000 followers. It's possible. Shit can happen.
Definitely possible.
Yeah.
Absolutely. Okay, all right. Ladies and gentlemen, thank you so much for listening to this episode. Like, share, subscribe, do your jazz, and we will catch you again hopefully next week. Till then, cheers. Vineet, say bye-bye.
Bye-bye.